Hello everybody and welcome to the second round of the Parabolic Companies J2ICS GT3 Sprint Championship as we draw to the end of 2025. A new season for GT3s take us all the way to the end of September over the course of 10 great rounds, mostly hour-long races with a couple of 90-minute races sprinkled in between at Daytona and Bathurst. Very much looking forward to bringing you the second round of this championship here from Navarra. Circuit that's not quite as well used as some of the others on this calendar, like Nürburgring the week before, or indeed Interlagos that we've got coming up next week. It's myself, Ewan O'Leary, bringing you the action here tonight. Chris Murphy alongside me, I believe making his JPB debut here tonight, and Biggles behind the cameras for us this evening. Good to be alongside you for this one, Chris. It's Navarra, which is a strange circuit in many ways. As I said before, not a circuit that all of these drivers are going to have particular familiarity with, especially when you compare it to some of the other circuits on this season. But that should make it interesting over the course of the hour-long racing we have here tonight.
Sure, Ewan, thank you so much for having us here tonight. Really looking forward to this GT3 race here at Navarra. The interesting track, really tight and twisty. Except 14 turns here. There's only a couple of straightaways, opportunities to pass this long front straightaways. They come off the last corner, down the hill, and then back up the hill into turn number one. I think we're going to see some passing there, and then also into that tight second turn as well. So looking forward to an exciting race here over the next hour.
We're on board with Dickinson, who is the current series leader, having taken the win at the only round so far. He won by just over 8 seconds, and it's Simply Steve and Joshua Spears who was battling for second. Actually, those two were battling away for second position a little bit earlier on. As you can see, those two are still running nose to tail in this qualifying session, but they're 7th and 8th at the moment. Squilliam is in second as it stands, but 3 tenths behind Dickinson, who has got a real big gap at the front of those standings. Jason Winucki is third in the current standings. Not sure if finished 12th last week, I should say, just over a minute off of the win. But he's been very, very fast this week. We have 3 practice sessions before the races in J2ICS, one on a Friday, one on a Sunday, one last night on a Tuesday. And he topped both of them, or the first 2 of them, I should say. Dickinson topped the one yesterday, just in front of Winucki there, who was about 2 tenths of a second behind. But over the course of the sessions, I believe he's done upwards of 150 laps. I know he's done over 50 laps in the very long practice session which precedes this qualifying session in this evening. But I think that gives us a bit of an idea, really, just how much work it actually takes maybe to get up to speed around the circuit. If some drivers are taking on at least 150, 200 laps, and that's just in the official servers, never mind what practice they've done on their own. That's a lot of work being put into this round.
I'm surprised that any of them are going to have any energy left to run this hour race right now. I mean, I was in here watching practice a little bit earlier, and like you said, they're putting down hundreds of laps out here, and they had the 3 practice sessions over the week from Friday, Sunday, and Tuesday. And Winucki was at the top of the leaderboards, as you said, running a lap of a 138 with Dickinson with a 138.415 there on Tuesday, the fastest lap we've seen so far. Nobody into the 139s right now in qualifying. As you said, Dickinson right now at the top of the boards with a 140.48 right now.
That's one that just got slightly improved on, as well as I was talking a couple of moments ago. Of course, before we go any further, we should thank the title sponsor of this J2ICS season, which of course is Parabolic Companies. At Parabolic Companies, we don't just invest in real estate, we build momentum from revitalizing neighborhoods to powering progress through innovative development. Our mission is to create lasting impact in every community we touch. Whether it's laying foundations or backing fierce competition on the virtual track, Parabolic brings precision, passion and performance. Parabolic Companies, grounded in growth, driven to win. The title sponsors of our J2ICS season here this time around. Season 11 overall, by the way, our GT3 Sprint Championship. You may remember from last season, by the way, over the course of the early summer and late spring, that we actually had 2 seasons running side by side before, GTPs and F3s as it was, but only the one season this time round, taking place every week from now until the end of September, with a 1-week break between the American doubleheader of Sebring and Belle Isle. So not quite every week, but pretty much every week up until then. And so it is a little bit of a different feel this season, but my goodness, we've got a fantastic entry as Jason Winucki goes up to the second position. 31 cars on the grid here. Now, you wouldn't particularly know this, Chris, because you haven't been here too often before, but we haven't had fields like that for a long time in J2ICS. To have a 31-car field, round number 2, it's another big field, and it's fantastic to see.
Should make it very exciting. 31 cars on this tight track, these tight corners is going to get interesting really quick. I think we're going to see if we can make it through the first couple of laps here without any incidents. I think is going to be a testament to these drivers.
There goes Simply Steve, who just improves actually into 8th position. This is Racer 8, who we've had to rename in iRacing for whatever reason. It's arguing with our system. He moves up to 12th place anyway. DC crosses the line and moves up to 14th. Really are some late improvements. I wonder whether Dickinson is going to just put this one out of sight at the very end here, as if he needs to. I mean, he doesn't need to, but he might just do it anyway. Just under 2 tenths in front of Jason Winooki, who got up the order there with the checkered flag, maybe just before it actually flew there, through the final turn for Dickinson. Purple in that second sector. What is this time going to be? Will it be quicker than the previous best of that 140.3? It might well be. Or is it? Oh, yes, it is. There you go. 40.1. That should put it out of sight of even Jason Winooki, who comes around the final corner now and crosses the line with his last lap time of the session. Only one even personal best in that one, and that's nowhere near what he needed there. He will stay in second. Bob Nova stays in third. Looks like Dickinson has taken pole, and it's just that stamp of authority at the end of the session there. Didn't need to improve necessarily, but he did anyway.
Like you said, just want to put a stamp of authority on it. Just say, this is what I got, guys. Come after me.
Yep. And, well, they can't for the moment. By the way, something else I just want to have a look at, or just mention. 55 degrees Celsius on the circuit at the moment. If that stays until the race, could be a big problem. 56 as it's rounded up. I've got 55.56. I guess rounds up to 56. But that is very hot. I'm not sure if I need to make the Fahrenheit conversion. Is it 120? 130? I don't know. But
135 actually.
Is it? Goodness me. That is very hot. I don't know how many people watching this need the translation, but anyway, whichever way you look at it, that is exceedingly hot for this track.
It is going to contribute to tire wear for sure. It's going to make this track already is pretty abrasive on tires. With that heat at 58 Celsius, we are going to see tires wearing off quick, and we're just you're going to see a lot of these drivers lose the handle early.
Let's have a look at the starting grid then for this hour-long race, and it is indeed Dickinson who takes that pole with a 140.1. Jason Winooki alongside, just under 4 tenths behind. Bob Nova and Squilliam will share row 2, ahead of Logan McKinsey and Joshua Spears. Notovin, who's been up there in championships in the past, to be alongside Simply Steve, who rounds out those inside a second of pole. Then it's Prince Adam and Sector running out the top 10 with Tigish and Racer 8 in 12th position. 13th has gone down to Beaver, who's ahead of DC on row 7. It is G-Bay with Corndog on row 8, Joe Albanese and Jen. Not a Supra is alongside Zach to round at the top 20 with Joe Omega and Huzia Dallas on row 11. Nicolator and Steve's Jr. next, ahead of Dylan Meyer and Brandon Dean with Biker Pilot and Sassy, all Canadian, row 14. Springfire and Garlic Dog round up top 30 ahead of Urko, who rounds out the field. Gridding on the back straight at the moment in even hotter conditions, now up to 57 on the circuit. This track, by the way, located in the Navarra region, unsurprisingly, in northern Spain, which is right on the border with France. Now, I know even southern France is a very hot part of the world, but this is by far away not the hottest place in Spain, and it is 57 degrees for this race. I guess that's what you get on the 23rd of July. We're right in the height of quite a warm summer, but that is very hot. I'm even wondering, tyres not something we normally talk about, Chris, over the course of an hour, but I'm even wondering whether tyres are going to be a consideration really for us to talk about in terms of that heat wear maybe over the course of an hour.
I'm sure we're going to see some tire changes when they have to come in and take on some fuel about probably halfway through this, maybe 30 to 40 minutes into the race. I don't think a set of tires are going to last a full 60 minutes in these conditions. If somebody can make it last that long, I think they're going to have an advantage. But I think you're going to see most of these drivers take on some tires when they come in for fuel.
A couple of the other talking points to look at alongside temperature, apart from the ones, of course, we've already had a look at. I actually, someone has done the maths on Jason Minucci's practice laps, by the way, in the server. He's put in 472 laps of practice before this race. My goodness me. I'm not sure how long that would take if we add it up. Need a calculator. But that is a long, long time spent on the circuit, and that is an awful lot of laps. It does seem to have paid off, but the race winner from last week, Dickinson, does seem to be on the pot, and he was very confident actually last week that he could continue on in that vein of form that he started last week with that victory in or at the Nürburgring. See whether he can do it again here in the next one. Penny Dickinson, as always, supporting him along. Sean, as it is Sean Dickinson, who will be at the front of the field and ready to fire us off here for an hour of racing at Navarra. It's an hour-long race, just past 3 p.m. in Sim. The height of the day in these tyre temperatures, track temperatures, are going to be a huge, huge talking point at the second round of the Parabolic Companies J2ICS GT3 Sprint Championship here in season 11. We are ready to go in northern Spain. The lights go out and we are racing with Dickinson immediately getting off to a good launch, and Jason Minucci immediately under pressure from Squilliam and Bob Nova, who's trying to make it 3 wide but can't quite do it as they funnel into the very fast first 3 corners around this racetrack. Luckily there's a bit of tarmac over the right hand side that might well be used a little bit further down the mid-pack, but no, not even. Everybody getting through the first 3 corners very nicely at the front, in the middle and at the rear end of the field as well.
As we see any contact there, all 31 drivers through the first few corners here, really clean. Dickinson with a great start there on that rolling start, got a good jump on Winicki and Squilliam and able to put a gap on her. He's already starting to put about 10 car lengths on him right here as they head up into turns 8 and 9.
Out onto the back straight, they'll go right-handed, and now, as you say, onto the back straight. Turn 9, going to be that big braking opportunity, but it's another one of the talking points. There are relatively few of them around this circuit, so how can you make use of them early on? There, look at that, all single file right the way down until finally there's a couple of drivers ducking and diving. I think that was not a Supra trying to get past Corndog further down the field, and they're all stacking up again coming into, that was Prince Adam trying to get past Simply Steve, couldn't quite do it on the way towards turn 11, but they all get very, very closely stacked up, and now they get into the sort of run-of-the-mill racing. As I say, it's going to be relatively difficult to overtake around this circuit with pretty few overtaking chances.
I think you're really looking at only 2 chances down the front straightaway into turn number 1 and maybe up into turn 2, and then, as you said, down that back straightaway off of turn 8 into 9 is about the only opportunities I think we're going to see for passing. Really surprised here so far. Every driver on the track showing a lot of patience here on this first lap. Just all single filed out, nobody making any mistakes, nobody doing anything crazy.
Fantastic stuff all the way around. This is up to those who have made some places. Tiggish and Beaver have made up 3 and 4 places so far, but you know, as far as most places gained across the field go, Chris, that's very, very low to have 4 as the most of anybody.
4 positions in the first lap's pretty impressive, though, for Beaver. I'm not sure where all these names come from. Is that Tiggish? They're in 8th right there in front of them, so they're both moved up a little bit here, 3 and 4 positions up.
And here's Joe Albanese versus DC coming through the very long left-hander at turn 5 and 6, just past a couple of the cut-throughs where alternative layout racing goes on at this circuit. Inside line for DC. Oh, and he spins! Gets on the curb and he does touch the barrier, but that's far less of his concern than all of the track position and all the positions he's losing right now. He just seemed to clip the curb and go for a spin through the smoke. Omega and Nicolator go side by side. Nicolator on the inside line. He should get 20th place with that inside through turn 10 into 11 rather, but no, he's still on the outside line. Omega keeps the position, and indeed there you go, but classic Porsche spin unfortunately on the traction there coming out of turn 8.
Just got down a little bit too low, trying to keep the car pinched down on the bottom as he had somebody on the outside of him, caught that curb, got on the throttle just a little too hard and around, and DC all the way back to 31st, loses 17 spots so far, only a few laps in, but he's got what do we have here, 57 laps, 56 minutes to go here, so he can make up a lot of ground.
Yeah, that's a long way to go yet as Beaver comes through on Tiggish down in towards turn 1. Better exit and position surely sealed. There you go. In the background, Simply Steve tries to make up some place as he goes off. Very nearly gets into the back of him, and Prince Adam in the background is going to try and come through. Where is he going to get to here? Well, he's still just about alongside. Steve has to just give him a little bit of room, and now he doesn't have to any longer, because through turn 5 and 6, Prince Adam has to back away. But that's the characteristic of this racing. When there's few passing zones, like we see at this circuit, when there's one opportunity, you've got to go for it, and we just saw it there.
If that driver in front of you opens up a hole, you got to try to fill it, try to take advantage of that, and that's exactly what happened right there. Prince Adam trying to take advantage of that pass by Steve, but just not able to follow through.
There's another look there, but nothing doing. Down into turn 9, and so we'll move up a little bit further. Logan McKenzie just in front of Notovin here in the 2 Corvettes, and knocking on the door of a top 5. In fact, McKenzie, of course, is in the top 5 at the moment. Notovin just outside of it, applying that pressure. But again, we're going to start to see the same problems just less than 5 minutes in. That's a long way until we start to see the pit window open. At 24 minutes into the race with 36 to go is when we expect to see it open for the first time, as Steve and Tigges go side by side again. This has got the hallmarks maybe of a race-long battle that could be developing here between these guys, who all hit each other at the final corner. And yeah, there you go, up 5th place, sorry. Yeah, Notovin's gone straight through. There you go.
And Notovin looked a little bit faster than Logan McKenzie there. He's just looking for his right opportunity, and he took advantage. He got a hole, was able to get up underneath him off the corner there and just power down, and he's going to try to push his way up into the 4th spot now as he moves up into the top 5.
That's a good pass, and it does look like he's going to be able to go on with that as well, because he's already made up one place. Of course, off in the background, Your Mega has gone off the circuit. Well, we go back to Prince Adam having a look down the inside of Tigges, and he is going to find his way down the inside there at 6 as well. Properly, he is on the inside line. Tigges is going to hold 7 and 8 with that inside, but he's a long way alongside here, is Adam. And look at Sector. Where does he go? He doesn't really have a choice. He's filled in the road in front of him with that big Ford Mustang, blocking the road in front of him almost, and Racer 8 is going to be onto them pretty soon, so he's going to start thinking about that if he's not careful. Down towards turn 9, he's actually left the space open on the inside. Tigges keeps the place, but these are the kind of battles that lose you a lot of time, because Steve has really got up the road, and they're chasing each other down for the apex. A great bit of driving there from Sector, who's maybe going to get them both here. He saw them take each other off the road, and he's going to try and take the both positions. He can't do it though. He slides, and Prince Adam comes out the other side with 10th.
Some great racing, just great racing right there, side by side all the way through there. Tigges and Prince Adam Sector taking advantage there as they were side by side to try to find his way around and try to get his way closer to the front. But he looked a little faster than the 2 in front of him.
Whoa! 3 wide. He sends it down the inside, just Joe Albanese, and he makes it through on Racer 8 and GP. I mean, that wasn't on my list for tonight. I've got to say, a 3 wide pass into the final turn. It's side by side everywhere in this group at the moment. Amazing racing. Down the inside goes Tigges now on Sector. They're all everywhere into turns 1 and 2 here. Tigges is properly alongside, coming down towards turn 4 there, and he's still just about there, but he's going to be pushed out now for the next few left-handers, and finally he does get pushed down. This is an amazing group to watch, and nearly 10 minutes gone already.
We need 6 different camera angles here, multiple different screens to catch all the action that's going on here. As Sector, with a great move there on Tigges, moves himself up to 11th, and he's going to set his sights on Prince Adam to see if he can get up to the top 10. As Adam is kind of pulled away from this battle back here.
Racer 8 just down the inside of GP in towards turn 8. Not a Supra going to try and come through as well. Down the inside maybe, down at the end of the straight. Nope, doesn't look like it on this occasion. Oh, they're all stacking up though on the inside line. Racer 8 just a little bit slow through the middle part of that corner, and he drops to 15th, down 3 on where he started this race.
We talked at the start of this race that there was only maybe a couple passing opportunities, but they've proved us wrong. They are making passes everywhere on this track. I was really surprised, like you said, to see that late dive into the last corner by Sector there to take that spot away. We've also seen a couple passes coming into turn number 9. So
it's Sneezy Jr., who has gone off down at turn 11 and then turn 12. enters quite fast, loses the rear end, and that seems to me to be a pretty difficult corner as well. A little bit off camber, a little bit downhill, and it seems very, very easy to lose the rear end through there. Already saw, I think it was Racer 8 actually, getting a real sideways moment, maybe it was somebody else, but a real sideways moment there through that sort of off camber corner. But either way, in this group, they're all okay. And look at how quickly he can get away from the group as well. Steve is seconds up the road. So is Prince Adam, sector as well. If you get dragged into the group, it goes on for a long time, as Tigges is experiencing. But if you can get away, you gain a lot of time very quickly.
If you get out there and get some fresh air, you getting a bunch of cars in a group here, you get some dirty air, kind of upsets the car, get in the corner, doesn't want to turn there as well. We'll get a little bit of understeer, start to push up the racetrack, and you got to get out of the throttle a little bit. And we've kind of seen that a little bit. We're only 6 laps into this, only 10 minutes, but already the heat and the tires are starting to wear out, and you're seeing drivers as they come off the corner just having to really pedal the throttle and not lose it.
Another look for Joe Albanese. He's been aggressive so far. He has another look down the inside at turn 11. He can't quite get down there. I mean, yeah, we should probably go back to that 3-wide pass, to be honest, because it was very, very impressive the way he made that. Again, into the final corner, I wasn't expecting to see many passes at all. Never mind 3-wide. That was contact. Not a Supra. Definitely just hit Racer 8 there. And, well, there's no signs of damage on either of them, but there's another big group coming towards the final corner. Same again. Side by sides, the McLaren goes a little bit defensive. The McLaren of Zach will be actually on the inside of Corndog here, who's gone for the brave outside line. And they're side by side over the start-finish line again.
Corndog side by side all the way down this front straightaway right now. See who's going to win the battle into turn 1. It looks like it's going to be that Corndog down on the inside. Supra's going to win the battle into turn number 1. Let's see if he can keep up that speed up to these tight corners through 2 and 3.
Let's see. This is a bit further back between Zach and Jen in the field. Nothing doing, surely down towards the next corner, the next long left-hander. As Nicolaita we ride on board with. Further up front, Dickinson is leading this race by just over 4 seconds, but this is Jason Winooki and Squilliam who are battling away for second place. In fact, Winooki's back into second place, just ahead of Squilliam, who qualified in 4th position and is doing a good job so far. But this is big pressure on the Porsche driver now at the head of this group, and at the moment they're not doing each other much favours in terms of keeping close to Dickinson. However, having said that, Dickinson showed himself to be in qualifying quite a lot quicker than the rest, and he's showing that in the race as well.
Mega loses it there off the corner. Pretty hard contact there with the inside barrier. Is it the outside barrier? I guess whatever turn that was. But it looks like he's got it wound back up and back on the racetrack.
It's the first real bit of big contact we've seen with the wall, actually, and something you don't actually get round here very often. You just look at the size of the racetrack round here. It's very modern day. Very much the wall's a long way from the racetrack, which is not a bad thing, by the way. The bad thing is the fact there's tarmac also on the each side of the racetrack, which is less good, to be honest. But anyway, it's the way that modern circuits are. A good evening, by the way, to everybody watching along. Good morning to Phil, I guess, is watching at this time of the day. And if you're in the UK, then yeah, it is very early in the morning. Same in Europe, of course. But yeah, this is the J2ICS series. Race a little bit later, even American time, than what you might expect. But if you're over on the West Coast, for example, it's more of an ideal time as Winooki and Squilliam go side by side. And a bit of door banging too, going down at turn 9. Well, I've got to say, the Lamborghini was very much alongside, and he muscled his way through on that inside line.
He kind of muscles way through there. Winooki looked to have a pretty good pacer ahead of Squilliam. Squilliam was about a second and a half back a few laps ago. Reeled Winooki in right there. Winooki kind of left just enough of a gap on the bottom that Squilliam jumped down in there and took advantage of it. I don't think Winooki really expected that. Kind of closed the door a little bit of contact, but they're still going straight. Now Squilliam's setting his sights on the leader, Dickinson.
Yeah, well, it's 6 seconds, so he's got a big job to do. Oh, that's wide, very wide from Joshua Spears, who's rather handed that one to Beaver. Handed it on a plate, and the Acura goes straight through. into 7th place. Nottavin was having a look at Bob Nova further up the field, by the way, as well. He's on the march, and that's a personal best from him, actually, last time round, a 140.9. Haven't seen loads of those so far today in the entirety of the field. Look at this. You can just see the way different lines he's taking Nottavin here. He is certainly on the march and looking at overtaking Bob Nova here.
And Nottavin looking into turn number 5. You can see it down here on the bottom of turn 5, kind of try to open that wheel up a little bit so you're not pinching the car off and losing speed. You can see him gain on the back of Bob Nova there into turn number 6. Nottavin, like you said, Nottavin running just a little bit different line. Is paying off for him. See him way out there on the curb, diving down to the bottom, hitting that apex. Oh, but he gets loose there, get too much of the curb, and you saw him fight the wheel right there from inside. As he was running up on the back of Bob Nova, but he lost some ground right there off of turn number 8.
Yeah, we saw somebody do that earlier. Was it DC off the curb there, off of turn 8?
That was.
Just clipped that curb. And, spun round, and it lightly tapped the wall. He's still, by the way, down 10 on the day. He has made a few more places up, but he's only 28th at the moment, which will be a bit of a disappointment to him. There are the movers and shakers, by the way. Eva now the best of them after that latest overtake on Joshua Spears. And so we're following this battle, but actually we should be looking behind because Beaver is coming up very quickly here, looking to add more positions to that tally, which is a very impressive tally as well. The most positions gained of anyone inside the top 10.
Beaver started back in 13th, all the way up to 7th, moved up 6 spots. He's looking really good there in that Acura, and he is reeling in. Look at what's name I'm looking at. McKenzie and Nottavin right there in front of him as we head down this front straightaway. I really like this front straightaway here at Navarra. It's kind of cool how you're coming down the hill off the last corner and then right back up the hill into turn number 1. You're going to 1 there flat out and then come into this tight turn number 2 and just try to get the car woed up and like we said, Beaver doing a great job charging through the field.
I must admit to not quite being sold on the first 3 corners myself, but I don't think it promotes overtaking greatly. It's very, very similar. I don't know whether it is actually designed like this. It's very similar to that section right at the end of Misano, if you're familiar with that Italian circuit. Really bends round to the right in a triple way like that corner does. I'll get back to that anyway as Joe Albanese gets down the inside of Tigis, gets through quite nicely. Goes rather deep, but he does get through Albanese up to 12th place with a nice overtake down that long left-hander there at turn 5 and 6 rather.
Yeah, Tigis now back, loses another spot right there. Now back 2 spots, and Albanese now up 5 spots. Started back in 17th, up to 12th. Let's see if he can get some distance here. Now he's got some fresh air there in front of Tigis. Let's see if he can put some distance on it and move up on Wiley.
Is Nicolayton?
Is it Nicolayton?
Yeah. That's the name. And also, one of the guys, by the way, behind the scenes of the admin staff of J2ICS, by the way. Also partnered with Beaver, who is up in 7th place. We have got a proper teams championship this season, by the way, and a proper teams structure, which we'll talk a little bit more about next week as we probably get into the season and we can start to talk about standings with a little bit more authority, knowing that that it actually matters. Effectively, at the moment, we've only had 1 race, and all the standings are effectively just the results from round number 1. So from next week onwards, we'll certainly have be more across that, the drivers and the team standings and who's going to be where. But for now, we certainly know who's going to be top of those, and Dickinson leading the way by nearly 7 seconds underlines that. But there's a number of drivers who are trying to go for a double top 5 here. Beaver is one of those who's now in 7th place, and he's very much joined in with this group. Joshua Spears trying to do the same as well with Simply Steve. They're in the top 10 again. They were in the top 5 last time, though, don't forget. Same for Prince Adam as well. All of the guys who were in the top 5 last week are at least in the top 10 here, but only one of them doing it twice, being in the top 5 twice, that is, and that is Dickinson, who at the moment is winning again. It's been a very, very strong start to the season indeed for him, although there are still more than 40 minutes to go.
Beaver's made his way up to the back of McKenzie here in that 6th position. Single filed here from about 4th all the way back to 7th. As we are 18 minutes into this 1-hour race right now. Beaver now up 6 spots. Let's see if he can find his way around McKenzie. I think if he can get up underneath McKenzie here and set his sights on Nottavin, I think we're going to see Beaver keep moving his way towards the front.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's the way the momentum's going at the moment. And it's, again, the difference maybe between qualifying pace and race pace that we're seeing a little bit moment from the Acura. There is, he turns his lights on actually as they cross the line again. He's right in the 140s. That's a very good lap time indeed from Beaver. That lap time actually would have been his fastest of the day, but it didn't count. He must have gone off track somewhere. But you can tell the pace he's putting on, and he's getting very close to McKinsey again there through turn 3.
And Winnicki is just right in front of this battle right here. So second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, all right here together. It wouldn't take much of a mistake from somebody up here towards the front for one of these guys to move up 2 or 3 spots in a hurry. But we've kind of gotten patient here. We had a lot of side-by-side racing the first few laps into this race. But everybody's kind of single-filed out right now, just waiting for somebody to make a mistake. I think if I'm Beaver right here, I'm just kind of settled in, getting some laps in, not burn my tires up too much, and hope a couple of these drivers in front of me make a mistake and I can move up.
It's going to be very much costly if you make an error. And there's Notovin, by the way, getting very close to Bob Nova. If the error is not in your hands, then you'll be even more annoyed. And hoping there's no contact down towards turn 9. Again, got a better line there as Notovin compared to Bob Nova. Just trying to do what he can to get past at the moment, but finding this just a little bit difficult. Up over the curbs on the right-hand side. Now on the brakes again. And this very stop-start second half to the lap. And then through now to the final couple of corners. Just settling down here a little bit. Again, we've sort of debunked the very few passing zones around this circuit. That's not quite proved to be true, but this group very much is settling in here. And if there aren't any mistakes, it'll be interesting to see how the guys actually try and break up that single file group that we have going on at the moment.
Yeah, I really expected, Notovin to keep moving towards the front here, Beaver as well. But like you said, they've settled in here, being patient. I think we're about 20 minutes into this race. I would expect to see some pit stops here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe everybody's just kind of biding their time, going to come in and get a fresh set of tires on. But they're doing a really good job. As hot as this track is, as hot as the surface is, those rear tires have got to be wearing out. It's really easy to spin the tires up off the corner, so really good throttle control by all these guys right here up in the front.
It's worth noting, actually, just looking up at the skies at the moment and seeing that some clouds have come over, so track temperature is dipping. It's just gone below 50, actually. It's plummeted in the last couple of moments. Perhaps slightly unrealistically, but we'll put that aside. 49, it's just dipped down to as I've been talking, so it's becoming more manageable. But, I guess it says a lot about the previous conditions that I'm saying 49 is manageable, because on a normal day, you'd look at the track temperature, see that and think, oh dear, this is going to be quite a long afternoon indeed. But the toss-up these teams have got these days is that GT3 tyres don't come out the oven hot anymore. They go onto the car cold, and you've got to warm them up. So that is the key toss-up now. Do you come in at halfway, as you say, and take the wear away because it's been so hot and actually warm these tyres back up again, take advantage of the fact that it's so hot and warm them up quickly? Or do you keep those tyres on and keep the second or two that you gain by keeping that set of tyres on for the whole hour? Because there is certainly a time loss to warming those tyres back up again.
That's a really good question. Yeah, with the temperature dropping, the cloud cover coming over the top of the speedway, it is going to be a little more difficult to get those tires warmed up when you come back out there. But is it worth the balance of a little bit extra grip? If I'm out there right now, and I don't see a lot of these guys really struggling off the corners, we might see that within the next 10 minutes or so. But if I'm starting to lose grip in the rear of those tires, I don't care if the tires are a little bit cold. I'm going to want some new rubber on.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what everybody else does as Beaver has a look down the inside of McKinsey there. It's just not really a braking zone, is it really, at turn 5? And that's a big problem. If you're not going to be standing on the brakes for any length of time, it can be very, very difficult to actually work your way through. We've got a crash down at turn 3. GP is off the road, and that may have been contact with not a Supra or Zach or Nicolated. Anyway, those are the kind of guys who are up towards the front of that group. We'll have a replay in a second, but the pit window's starting to open now, so especially for these guys who have spun and now will really have heated their tyres up, we will see what the decision is. It's Racer 8 who has a look down the inside at turn 2, then another at turn 3, and drives straight into the side of the Ferrari.
Racer 8 took a look up underneath the inside. I don't think GB expected him to take that late lunge into turn number 3 right there. It's a pretty challenging place to try to pass, but he saw an opening right there, and I think at that point as a racer you've got to take it, because I think he saw GB struggling, car kind of get a little bit of understeer pushing up out of the corner, and I think he thought he was going to be able to get up underneath there and make that pass, but just not enough room as GB came back down and across the track.
Fastest lap of the race, by the way, from Dickinson, who once again is stamping his authority on this race. What about Beaver down in towards turn one again? He's close. Oh, he has a look for McKenzie, who just brings it over to the right there, as if to say, don't come through here at the moment. That's not particularly ideal. In towards turn 2 and 3. McKenzie wants to stay with these guys out front at the moment, like Notovin and so on, and he's got the pace to do it if he's just left to his own devices, but the pressure that Beaver's putting on him at the moment is making it very, very difficult.
Beaver definitely feels like he's a lot faster than McKenzie right now. He's just kind of trying to get him out of the way, give him a little bit of nudge there off of turn number 2 a second ago. He's just trying to find a way around. He's a little bit quicker. He knows if he can get by McKenzie right here, he can probably make his way up into the top 5.
Well, exactly. He's certainly got the pace for that at the moment. Beaver's still the biggest gainer of anyone inside the top 10. He's not the biggest gainer overall, by the way. Springflower is in 22nd and up 7 from where he qualified, only just inside the top 30. So he's not quite the biggest mover on the field. They all are. 7 gained there by Springflower, and indeed Urko, actually, who's just made a pass into 24th so far. But Beaver can certainly equal that by making this pass on Logan McKenzie, and he's still threatening to do it. This is further back. Jens, Zach, and Not a Supra down in towards turn 9. A lot of weaving going on there on the back straight.
Yeah, Jen taking a late look there on Zach. They're trying to make their way up through. Super was up. I thought Super was running a little bit better early. He's falling back here a little bit to 15th. He has moved up 4 spots. But here's Zach taking a look.
Further back up front again. Beaver close again.
Oh, he's going to take a look here. He's going to take a look. He's going to take a lunge into 1.
You can see
Takes a look to the inside.
Telling him not to almost. And he has a look. Now finally at 3. There he is. Close. Super close to contact, but he was just about alongside, and he gets away with it there. McKenzie again keeps his place, but that was very similar, nearly very similar to that instant we saw with Racer 8, only Beaver was a bit further alongside, and he did actually hit the apex of turn 3, of course.
We saw that coming all the way down the French roadway. Beaver had the pace, went for that late lunge into 2, just not enough. You know, in the dirt track racing world where I come from, if I'm up on your door, that line is mine, but it's a little bit different here. You've got to be up to the front tire before that guy on the outside is going to respect you and give you the inside.
Another look down in towards the end of the straight, and that's late on the brakes. Oh, Bob Nova has a go at Jason Winooki there. The 2 Porsches starting to slow this whole group up now, and that is not going to be ideal for the guys in the middle like Notovin, who's getting a bit restless, as you can see. Again, another look from Bob Nova, who goes wide. Notovin trying to get out of this position, and he can't quite do it at 12. This is getting ever closer, and surely somebody's got to pit from this.
The pace that Winooki had earlier, sure would not expect him to be holding up this train, but there goes Bob Nova. There's McKenzie up underneath Nova right there to take over that 5th spot, or the 4th spot, as Notovin diving down into the pits. In. Yeah, it's a good idea, because this was getting very, very busy indeed as Notovin comes in. It could be a masterstroke, but where does he come out in relation to the others? If he comes out in a lot of traffic, then again it's going to be trouble. Here comes Beaver again, in towards turn 1. Top 5 looming. He has a look, but he doesn't go for it. Now maybe at 2 he goes for it. It's a strange first section of corners as far as making the move goes, and finally he's got it done. What a great move by Beaver there. He set him up again down the front straightaway into 1, got down on the curb as low as he possibly could. McKenzie didn't have enough ammunition to fight with, and Beaver now sets his sights on Bob Nova for that 4th spot. But as you said, with Notovin taking that pit stop early here, I think if he can get out here in fresh air, this is going to be a huge advantage. But I actually taken a peek, looking at him come out in the pit, and he's not going to come out in any traffic there.
He goes for a big spin, and he's actually into the pit lane. Makes sense, really. This is back for 18th place for Hoosier Dallas G-Bait. Notovin's come out in this, so not ideal at all, but I didn't see whether he took on tyres actually or not. Just under 16 seconds. He wouldn't have had time for all 4. So yeah, oh, and he's off. That was Notovin going through the bottom of your picture there at real high speed, and he might have hit the wall. Oh, he's hit the wall hard.
He's knocked the back wing off the car.
Oh no, what has happened here?
Yeah, just cold tires. It looks like he got on the brakes right there. Maybe had the brake bias off a little bit. Got on the brakes hard there, and the car just snapped around on him. hard into that tire barrier, knocks the wing off the back of the car. That is going to take Nodovan out of a chance for a top 5. He was running up in the front for most of this race as well.
That is not something you see very often, not of him making a mistake like that. Not something you expect to see at all. But he's into the fence hard, and that will be another pit stop for him. He will be out of the running, so this group is going to disintegrate at the front of the field. This is the group he was in, just in behind Hughes and GP, who are 18th, or battling over 18th anyway, at the moment. Just over 29 minutes gone, so next lap should be halfway. Start of the day, we were predicted 35 or 36 laps. I would say at least 36, actually, based on what we're seeing at the moment. I reckon, yeah, we'll be, well, maybe exactly 36, actually, because Dickinson is going so fast. Here comes GP on the way towards turn 2. Again, he's going to have a look.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, goes through.
My apologies there, didn't mean to step on you, but it looked like GP, maybe he saw that move by Beaver on the big screen and just did the exact same thing. It was a picture perfect move into turn 1.
And clearly through. Nodovin's disappeared from this group now because he's pitted again. So leaves Springfire and Sassy to fight over 20th place now in the Corvette and the McLaren. We now do officially hit halfway. Somebody diving back to pit lane there anyway. Here are the leaders again. Renucci ahead of Bob Nova, ahead of Beaver and McKinsey. And ever since Nodovin got out the group, it has just calmed down a little bit between all these guys.
Dixon way out in front here, now over 10 seconds out in front of Squilliam. This is his race unless he makes a mistake. I don't see anybody catching him.
He's completely on his own out front, and that's no surprise really to anybody who's followed this series last week, and indeed will continue in the future as well. He is a very, very quick driver indeed, and not that the other guys aren't, but it's a real display of just how quick he is, that he's got quite the lead that he has at the moment. So over halfway, we're now starting to see some more pit stops, but you get the feeling here at the moment that everybody is just going deeper and deeper into this pit window at the moment. Nearly 38 minutes into the race, we've just about gone past now. And, you can just about go past in 7 minutes' time. So, yeah, it's all going to happen very quickly in the next 7 minutes or so as far as pit stops are concerned.
That was a great shot from Bob Nova looking back at Beaver. You can see Beaver gets into the corners a lot better than Bob Nova here, but he's just got to find the right place to pass it. Where are we at on the racetrack here? Let's see if he can set him up as they come around the last couple of corners here down that front straightaway like he did earlier to McKenzie. But it looks like right now Beaver looks like he's one of the faster cars on the racetrack. If he can just get some clean air, get past Bob Nova here, I think we're gonna see Beaver work his way up even closer to the front, as we see. Is that Winicki we saw just dive down into the pits?
Yeah. Oh, your mega's off me. Wow. As we see some of those leaders start to pit. Yamega goes for a spin. This is Beaver again. He's got a decent run off the final corner, but not as decent as a Porsche. Bob Nova is going to keep third place as a result of that, although he will be reeled in by the end of the straight, as you can see by the Acura here. And, well, maybe he is closer than I thought in towards turn 2. No, he forces the defence, though, from the Porsche in front. He might have another dive. Can't do it. Dives early for the apex in this battle for third position. And this is pretty close. Beaver, again, applying all sorts of pressure. It makes me wonder what he could have done differently in qualifying to get himself further up the field, because he is clearly really quick.
Yeah, like you said, it forced Bob Nova to make a mistake there, go down to the bottom to try to block off Beaver from that inside line, but it caused him to kind of get a little understeer, push up off the corner there. Just not enough for Beaver to take advantage of it. But Bob Nova is looking in the mirror here. Oh,
he's gone. Not Bob Nova off the road there and just slides his way out of contention for that podium place. Beaver goes through, but McKenzie's going to try and follow here down in towards turn 9. He's going to try and win that back, but there you go. Bob Nova slides wide. McKenzie up to 4th, and that is that. That just shows you how one small mistake can really affect you in a group like this.
It looks like as they were heading down into turn turned down to turn 9 there, it looked like Bob Nova maybe paying a little bit too much attention to what was in the mirror there, and just missed his braking point going into turn 9, pushed up, and he's going to lose 2 spots right there in a matter of about half a lap.
And it also shows you that the temperature worries haven't gone away. I have a feeling that will have contributed there. Back up to 52 degrees, by the way, as the sun's back out again. So it is very, very hot. But at the moment, we're not seeing tyre changes as far as I'm aware, although there are some longer stops further back. Jason Winooki, for example, did do a 22-second pit stop. So that is enough time to have changed tyres through that pit stop. We'll see whether he did or not, because it would be an interesting call if so. Lap 21 now begins for these guys. Expected any time up until the end of lap 22 is the pit stop. So expect them to be able to go one more after this one if they want to, maybe 2 more. But it shouldn't be long now until these 3 all come into pit lane.
Yeah,
This is the pass, by the way. McKenzie getting past Bob Nova as well.
I took a quick peek back at Winooki, and he's actually came out in some clean air back there with those new tires. We'll see if he can make his way closer to the front. I'm actually really surprised here looking back at the front again with Beaver. I thought once he got clear of Bob Nova and McKenzie, he'd pull away here, but McKenzie doing a good job of holding on to the back of that Audi, trying to hold on, just kind of following Beaver around right now and see if they're going to team up and pit in together. But I guess it's not really a drafting track like Daytona or Talladega, is it? I always think about it like that, but...
No, that's true. It's very, very different prospect. Here's the race leader, Dickinson, into pit lane. And it's a very tight pit entry, as you can see, and it's demonstrated. Now down pit lane for that Mustang. And go right to pit box number, whatever it is, the end one in that box. And McKenzie carries on. So pretty much everybody's in here after 21 laps. But Logan McKenzie's going to carry on, and he's going to lead this race. Dickinson does not get lifted off the floor. He does not change tyres. I'm pretty sure Winooki did, though, because he came out just in behind Sector, actually, and he is just behind Sector, which suggests that he has changed tyres and done something a little bit different. Up onto the jacks there is one of the Porsches in the background. I can't see who that belongs to, actually, at the moment, whether they're maybe a lap down. Yeah, it's the Omega who's changing tyres, but there's not much point in not doing that if you're so far down. There goes Squilliam. He's out in front of Nick Beaver, as you'd expect. None of those guys changing tyres, but I think Jason Winooki did. That's DC, who's gone for a spin, just out of turn 8. And we'll see how this has been involved. It's on turning, actually, that time round, and Corvette just has to just slide around the outside.
Yeah, that's not the first time we've seen somebody catch that curb on the inside of 9 and go around right there. It's pretty easy to do. You come down that long back straightaway there and you're braking hard and you catch that curb, it's going to upset the car and turn it around on you.
Well, it won't be the last time we see it either, as you get the view there on the left-hand side at who has stopped and who has not. Dubé and Nicoletta are in that camp of not having stopped just for the moment. And that's why they're both now inside the top 10. So we said at the end of lap 22 should be the limit. We might be able to go even a lap further than that. But let's wait and see as DC battles with Dylan Meyer out of the final corner.
Meyer
stays in front.
Yeah, Meyer with a bunch of oversteer off that last corner, got really loose, got sideways, and that let DC, and that let Meyer get in front of him there.
Race leader McKenzie and Simply Steve also into pit lane now. So again, we'll see whether there's going to be a tyre change there, but it wouldn't be expected at this stage. There goes the Mustang a little bit wide of Meyer. DC round the outside, and he's given the room, and he's been given the place effectively. So up to 23rd. Dickinson doesn't take him very long to go and retake the lead as expected, although McKenzie is out very quickly. Just 14 seconds in the box, actually, from Logan McKenzie. And that's a big, big jump for him, maybe, as he gets ahead of, or not quite ahead of Squilliam, just in behind. But look at the gap he's got over those he was fighting before.
Great stop there from McKenzie. Yeah, I think he got a little bit of advantage on that on his in lap there. While everybody else was in the pits, he had some clean air for the first chance in a long time. He ran a good in lap and was able to come out ahead of Beaver, like you said. So McKenzie now in that third spot, on the last spot on the podium. Let's see if he has anything for Squilliam. He's only about a second and a half back right now.
As Jason Manucci coming through on only just on Gibe and Albanese. That's how far he's gone back. Gibe just pulls wide there, and Albanese goes straight through on the inside line. He has... Well, Gibe on my timing screen says he hasn't stopped at all, but that's clearly a lie because I've just watched him. So, anyway, Tigis, meanwhile, gets around the outside of Nicolator, who's just coming out of the pit lane. That's not too much of a surprise, but look at that. Nicolator up to 15th place. He's up 8 places on where he started. Urko, who you can see here, is up 12 and now inside the top 20 as well. As always in this series, in any series really, with big numbers like this, you get some of those stories up and down the field of some very, very big gainers across the field.
Really surprised Winicki, who ran up in the top 2 or 3 most of this race, pitted before just about anybody back on lap 19, and he's not been able to crawl his way back up through this pack. He's all the way back to, still back there in 10th right now.
So highest place battle at the moment is between Joshua Spears and Simply Steve. All of those groups that we had going on for the lower end of the top 5 have disintegrated for one reason or another, not having hit the wall. Jason Manucci took tyres. Bob Nova seems to have lost quite a lot of time compared to the others as well. Not sure really why, because his pit stop wasn't that much longer. Beaver and McKinsey aren't quite together either, so it will crop up again later. But for now, those guys are separated. Here's Steve on the back of that Mustang, but look at that. Spears with good straight line speed with that Mustang.
The Mustang with much better, looked like a much better straight line speed than the McLaren. I thought Steve was going to be able to take a look to the inside going down into turn number 1, but Spears just got away from him just enough where he just didn't have the pace to make that late lunge into turn number 1 like we've seen some other drivers do.
Through the very long left-hander now, some very different lines by Josh and Steve here. Well, they do get it back in time for that late apex at turn 6. Now through 7, which is not much of a corner. Or braking for turn 8, down to first for Steve actually. If he might be better off leaving it in second for there, but anyway, he's the driver. He comes down to the back straight now. He's not close enough, and for a car that is not quite as quick in a straight line, this is going to be a difficult overtake now for Steve, because every time they get on a straight, that Mustang does seem to pull away a bit.
Yeah, the McLaren looks better through the corners, but you're right, the Mustang just definitely has the power off, a little bit oversteer on the throttle, a little bit too hard there. But the Mustang definitely has a straight line speed, and Steve is going to have to, hopefully Spears is going to make a mistake somewhere if he's going to find a way around him.
Yeah, he's got to hope for that. At the moment, it's not going to happen. As he comes now down to the final corner. Oh my word, racer 8 there, making a very rash move down the inside of Urko for 18th place, and that really was never going to work.
I think he threw that in from somewhere in southern Spain. That was a late lunge there from Racer.
It was a long way back, that's for sure. Jason Manucci on the back of sector. I mean, you can question the tyre decision here. So far, it's not really paying off. I guess we're not really going to know, because any decision isn't going to pay off if you get stuck behind somebody. So we can't really say too much about that decision yet, but I'm not sure changing tyres was quite the right call. Donovan just in behind.
Yeah, Donovan must have had a quick repair, because he's got that car repaired and trying to push his way back through the field, because he's all over the back of Nicolator here.
I mean, he shouldn't find this all too difficult, really, to get himself up to at least 14th. I mean, look at the gap between Corndog and Albanese at the moment. That's going to be too big to cross in the time remaining, but that's something to aim for, I suppose, at the end of today, and it'd be a decent result considering the way he smacked the wall coming out of the pit lane, trying to do a bit of an undercut compared to the rest of the field. Out of turn 80, close it to have a dive if he wants to, and no, actually, he was definitely close enough there to have a go, but decided not to.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was going to do it, but he gets a good run off a 9 here into turn 10. He is going to make his way around Nicolator here, but Nicolator fighting back on the inside, side-by-side racing right here through turns 12 and 13. Nicolator's going to not... Go ahead.
Yeah, he gets through, and nicely done as well. Nice space given between the two of them. Nicoletta couldn't really do much about that, but nor would he have really expected to at the end of the day. Though that kind of pass was always likely to happen with Notvin coming through like that. And it has. So he's up to 14th place, and he'll set his sights on those two in front now as well.
We've seen a lot of respectful racing here. A lot of side-by-side racing. Nobody really being too aggressive. We've seen a little bumping and banging here. And so, but I'm really surprised we're not seeing more on these tight corners on this track, that we haven't seen more incidents. So just a lot of respect for these guys and gals, if there's any out there.
I don't know the answer to that, actually. Simply Steve is on the back of Joshua Spears at the moment, in towards turn 9. Oh, it's a long way back. That would have been quite a send down to turn 9, but he has not done it, and that's probably for the best of everybody at the moment. You can understand that he wants to get through, but it's going to be very, very difficult. To be fair to him, as much as I'm slightly rating myself to watch that, it is worth. It's probably worth a go at some point. There's Urko, who's just gone off the road, and he drops to 20th place.
Urkel's has had his struggles here today. I think that's a second off that we've seen. He's moved up 11 spots, but he has struggled a couple of times there. And he had a little bit of damage there as he caught that inside wall as well.
I might just have the faintest bit of damage there as we go back to Joshua Spears and Steve again. Still same as they were before. The McLaren unable to get anywhere with that Mustang in front. Got to be careful that Prince Adam doesn't catch up and he gets overpowered by both of those Mustangs at the moment. And even loses 7th place, but so far he's not really in danger of letting that happen. And just see him taking different lines at the moment, figuring out what the best way to do this.
You see Simply Steve kind of enter that corner a little bit wide, forcing Spears down on the inside, and you can see how he makes up the ground off the corner because Spears pinching the car off and scrubbing off some speed. Simple Steve right now at this point, he's been behind Spears now for at least 5 or 6 laps. He's getting frustrated. He's just trying to find a way around. He knows he's faster. If he can just get past Spears here, I think he has a chance to catch up to Bonanova, but it's about 10 seconds now at this point. So I think this is about the best he's going to hope for is a 6th position if he can find a way around Spears.
Yeah, any gap of that size now is going to be too much here to overhaul. In fact, Bob Nova's got almost 10 seconds either side. He's pretty much confident of finishing 5th here as long as nothing goes wrong, and indeed nothing happens around him for the final quarter of an hour of this race. 14 minutes ago officially. Dickinson goes over the line again, probably with about 9 to go or so, based on the lap estimate so far. See whether Steve can get maybe an exit out the final corner here. It's a bit of a tighter line on the way in for Joshua Spears, and trying to get the power on the exit. You can see him sliding that McLaren, but you have to worry about the exit a lot less when you're in the Mustang and you've got that power available.
Yeah, the Mustang's got a little more power to the rear tires. You got to be a little better on the throttle off the corner, but Spears just doing a really good job off the corner, getting the power to the ground, and he's just driving away. That Mustang just has so much more straight line speed. And you can see as we get into turns 2 and 3 here, Steve all over the back of him, but just in the passing opportunities, he just does not have the speed to get past it.
No, not for the moment. So now comes through the long left-hander. This is where he's strong. Oh, he nearly hits him through turn 6 there. He's super close to 7. Has he got a decent chance at turn 8 if he wants it, but not quite. And again, the problem of having the car that faster through the corners, you're actually in danger of getting in an incident as well. He is a car length or 2 behind, but it's a great aerial shot of just seeing the gap, just the elastic band almost stretching between the two, and it compresses again down on the brakes. Yeah,
and Spears is kind of holding Steve up here a little bit, and he's kind of backing him up to Prince Adam. So Prince Adam back there in 8th is starting to gain on the back of Steve and Spears here right now. So we might see a 3-car battle here for this 6th position before we get to the end here with just a little less than 13 minutes to go.
Feeling that would be a disaster really for Steve, who's starting to apply even more pressure, but Joshua Spears also taking those defensive lines on occasion. Maybe a surprise attack at the final corner is the way to go. Not this time round. We've already seen 1 or 2 of those late moves down the inside at the final turn, which can be pulled off. Now onto the front straight, same story again. Steve unable to get past. Must be so frustrating to be in this situation at the moment. Better in the corners, nowhere to use it. Here he goes into turn 1 and 2. Brakes later on the inside at turn 2, but it's even that is not a big braking zone. Then you do the rest of the braking for turn 3 just afterwards. No way through, and this is where he gets closest. Now, not through 4, through 5 and 6 in a couple of moments' time. Here we go. This is where he gets a lot closer here compared to the Mustang. This long left-hander where he really does force Joshua Spears almost into a half-defensive move, but Steve just doesn't have the space to really make a move through there, even through turn 7, and then could have a dive at turn 8, I suppose, as well. But even then, that's not it's not a big braking zone for that corner either.
Yes, yeah, a little bit of oversteer off of turn 9 right there. Just about lost it, like we saw a few other guys early. Does a good job of collecting it. And like I said, Steve is getting really frustrated here right there. I think we're going to see him take a late lunge into turn 1 or 2, but he's doing a really good job of entering the corners a little bit higher. Steve Spears down on the bottom trying to block off that inside move, and Steve going out to the outside, which gives him a good angle off the corner. And like you said, going through 8 and 9 back there. What we got here?
Oh, yeah, but he's off in the Audi. He's gone off down the... excuse me, not even in an Audi, he's in an Acura, of course. But, yeah, just go for a spin, looking to get the power on out of turn 9 into turn 10. He goes for a spin. Jason Minucci gets to place then as he tries to utilise his new tyres that are giving him a bit of an advantage over the rest of the field around him, but I reckon that's because he's just a bit quicker than them anyway, as Garlic Dog and DC battle away for 24th place. And that's Dickinson in the race lead, who's got traffic to deal with now.
Dickinson making through. Got 2 or 3 cars here battling for position. Dickinson making his way through here nice and clean. You can see that these lap cars giving him some space, giving him some respect. They know he's coming through here in a hurry. They know he's a leader.
It's not ideal to be a race leader in this situation at all, but he comes with the territory and he knows how to deal with it. Now Joshua Spears offline again here, but just don't see how he can use that more to his advantage here. Simply Steve, he's putting his car in decent places especially in that part of the corner, but that part of the circuit, sorry, but again, just not able to get past. And again, almost by just driving at a decent pace, Joshua Spears is keeping that place by default. This is Nicoletta, by the way, in 14th place, just in front of Motor Supra and Corn Dog. Another driver, this time with the McLaren at the front of this group.
Trying to figure out where they came up with the names for this group. I called a few races. I've never seen a Corn Dog before, but he's doing a really good job here, working his way up on the back of Supra and Nicoletta here for 15th.
Another three-car group in the background there. Not sure what that was all about, but it's of course Racer 8 who's at the front of that one, just in the background. A couple of groups. Steve again close on the way down towards turn 1, but I mean, where does he do it here?
He's going to have a lunge right here into 2.
Yeah, it's just not close enough. Just never going to happen. It's the reason why I don't like turn 2 and 3 here. You're sort of splitting quite a big braking zone into 2 parts, which means, again, it makes 2 short braking zones rather than 1 long one, and it really doesn't help overtaking at all, as you can see with this battle at the moment. I know Spears is defending quite hard, but at the moment, Steve is just finding this impossible.
Yes, Spears is just mirror driving right now. Just all he sees is that front of Steve right there behind him, and I think you're right. I think he's going to get agitated here. He's gonna. I think we're going to see Steve make a late lunge here somewhere. But up
by slide, 14th place meantime, as Nicoletta gets ahead of Not Supra and Corn Dog as well, who just gives that weave to the left-hand side, shows the nose again for the long left-hander, and they all get back to single file again. But this is Nicoletta keeping that 14th place rather well, defending rather well as well for the driver, up 9 places so far, and where he qualified outside the top 20. Oh, contact! Brandon Dean is off with Sassy in that battle for 22nd. I'm surprised, actually. We haven't seen that so far today through turn 4. They just make a little bit of contact. Neither of them tow, actually. Both get back onto the circuit right in front of an oncoming pack of cars.
And that's our second place car, Mackenzie, coming through that melee right there, finding a way through with it and avoiding the contact.
It's with Squilliam, of course. They're only half a second apart or so. As again, Nicolai forced to look in the mirrors and watch Not a Super and Corn Dog. Into the final corner again, nothing happening there. What about here? Steve get anywhere? It's again through that section where he's strong. It's Steve. Has not even continues his run back through the field. He has actually got up to 13th place. He has actually closed the gap. I didn't think he would close. So he's now got an opportunity maybe of a couple of late positions here with 6 minutes to go.
Not even trying to work his way back up through here, right on the back of Tegas right now. Just a few battles on the racetrack per position. Not like I said, not even making his way back up through here after contact earlier after the pit stops. He's charging back up through the field here to see if he can get around Tegas. I think that he might be able to catch Albinus if he can get through here. We've got about a little over 5.5 minutes left to go right now in this race.
Yeah, does DC. Does he drops down the order. He's in the pit lane at the moment. As further in the background, again Nicoletta keeping ahead of Not Super, but this is a lot closer. The two of the same manufacturer means for a better battle. Down towards turn 9. He's down the inside, Not Super. Didn't exactly grab the apex there. Nicoletta saw it coming though. He gave some room, and he does lose 14th place, but there was no contact between them.
With a nice move down to the inside right there for Nottaman to get around Not Super up into the 13th now.
That was Not Super getting ahead of Nicoletta at 14th place. This is Prince Adams closing in as well here actually for 6th place. Joshua Spears and Simply Steve. Just less than 5 minutes to go. He arrives at the right time with Steve scrambling here to try and get past Joshua Spears. He's, I think, ever more vulnerable for another driver catching up to him, and that's exactly what he's got now.
Once again, Steve just trying to find a way around here. He's been the faster car here for the Spears overall. Most of the last 10 laps or so here, but Spears nowhere to go. Even nowhere to go. Sorry.
Also getting close between Squilliam and McKinsey for 2nd place here. I'm not sure McKinsey's going to have enough time, if I'm honest, to get this move done and in the way that he wants, but he'll give it a go. 4 minutes to go, 3 laps to go as they cross the line right now. It will indeed be a 36-lap race. Dickinson still leading by nearly 10 seconds, and it might well be over 10 seconds now that these two are properly racing for second in those final few laps.
Now see if Mackenzie's worked his way back up on the back of Squilliam. I was kind of taking a peek at this earlier. He's gained about at half a second to a second over the last couple of laps. So definitely faster than Squilliam. But can he find a way around? We've seen this so many times in this race where the faster car, as we were been watching with Spears and Steve as well, the faster car can make up some ground. But getting around that driver in front of you is a whole other story.
We've seen that in this circuit as well. Not so much for the first half of the race, actually, where passing difficulties we're not really experiencing. But this second half, it has been a lot more of a struggle for some. Simply Steve again gets really close to Joshua Spears. It's into this. Oh, and he's made a mistake. He's finally forced the mistake there. Joshua Spears a little bit wide. And here comes Simply Steve down the inside, coming down into turn 6. Slight contact made. A little bit more, but Prince Adam's going to be here. And he's got to get across here, Steve. He's got to get across. Prince Adam's looking down the inside. He can't do it. That might be his best chance of the race, and Steve still couldn't get past.
Steve did a good job of setting Spears up right there. Swung to the outside, entering the corner. That forced Spears down to the bottom. He pushed up off the corner. The car got a little bit of understeer, and that let Steve get underneath of him there. But again, that Mustang with just too much power drove off the corner. And in the meantime, Steve almost lost that 7th position to Prince Adams, as now it's a 3-car battle here for 6, as we predicted earlier.
It's going to happen eventually. And, well, it happened a bit later than I thought it would, actually, but Prince Adams arrived now, and he is really looming large in the mirrors of Simply Steve, although Joshua Spears makes another mistake into the 3rd last corner this time round. He's surely got to have a go here, Steve, at the final turn. He's not been able to make it through anywhere else, He's got to have a go, but no, that was a chance as well. And rare error from Joshua Spears there. He had to have a crack down the inside there for my money, but he just didn't do it. It's not really been happening for him at turn 1 and 2 and 3, and maybe he can finally prove me wrong towards the end here as they start their penultimate lap of their race. It's just too far away. If you're always coming into these first 3 corners miles away because the straight line speed's not there, you've got to capitalise on those errors, and Steve didn't even give it a go at the final corner that time.
No, Steve finds himself in the Mustang sandwich right now. He's also trying to find a way around Spears. He's also trying to defend now from Prince Adam. Again, Steve just so much smoother through the corners here as he takes another look to the inside, but just not enough power off the corner. He has to fight his way back, cuts back across the nose of Prince Adam to hold on to that 7th position as we're battling down here with less than a minute left to go right now.
Yeah, that's the thing you can't get away with when you've got somebody right behind you like that. You can't really pull across Prince Adam in the way that he did there, to be honest. And so that's the end of that. He stays 7th, does Steve, but what's going to be said afterwards about that? Prince Adam puts the pressure on now as Dickinson crosses the line. He's getting the white flag, by the way. One more lap to go to crown a very, very dominant performance indeed from him. This was a bit of time ago for Tigis in the Ford Mustang. He got through, on one of the Acras. Oh dear, and Notovin did very well to see that coming and avoid it.
Great job of avoiding the spinning Mustang right there by Notovin. You got to be looking far ahead to see those things coming at you. You get a little bit of luck there. It doesn't help, doesn't hurt as well.
A great bit of spatial awareness there. This is Prince Adam trying to get past Simply Steve, who's missing his last chances now to get past Joshua Spears, and instead he's on the defensive. Oh, he gets to the inside just in time there in front of Prince Adam. There's cars off in front there, lap cars, DC that is, in the Porsche, who just pulls off to the side of the road, and they'll be thankful for that here because these guys have got a race to accomplish, but the McLaren is going to race away now in the more technical, longer left-hander. Further out front though, Dickinson is coming into the final few corners. He won by over 8 seconds last week at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit in a dominant display of his driving. He's done it again this week at Navarra. Over 10 seconds this time as they scrap for second behind. Dickinson comes out the final corner to win here at Navarra in the Parabolic Companies J2ICS GT3 Sprint Championship here for round 2. A flash of the lights, another job well done as behind Squilliam survives the pressure from McKinsey to finish in second. Simply Steve and Prince Adam also go side by side briefly for 7th, but Steve looks like he's going to hold on to that place as well.
Picking up here at the front, McKenzie did a good job of running up on the back of Squilliam, gave him a little bit of a handful that last couple of corners for that second position. But here we are looking at Prince Adams, still trying to find a way around Steve. And
he didn't know what to do there. Joshua Spears with a bit of traffic in front. He just had a look down the inside and eventually comes out with the place. But simply Steve and Prince Adam were right there. And very nearly got through. Sector and Jason Winucki. And then first of the tyre callers, by the way. Jason Winucki finishing down in 10th place. It really didn't seem to work changing those tyres in the end.
Really expected Winucki to finish up in the podium positions in the top 5. He ran really well earlier, but like you said, that tire change earlier really hurt him. He just wasn't able to recover from losing all that ground.
Nearly 500 laps in practice. So I'm surprised he didn't at least test both of those strategies over the course of an hour to try and figure out which one was better. But really didn't decide to do that, which is a bit odd, I must say. Just trying to work out how many hours, by the way, that is on the circuit. It's 13 hours, that is, doing practice for this race. Unfortunate that he's only managed to get a top 10 out of it, but there you have it. The second round of the championship complete. We can bring the results up in a couple of moments' time and chat to a few drivers as well at the end of this broadcast. It is Dickinson who takes the victory by just over 10 seconds in the end, ahead of Squilliam and Logan McKinsey, who join him on the podium. Beaver up to up 9 places, up to 4th in that one, at Bob Nova, who rounds out the top 5. Joshua Spears held off Simply Stephen Prince Adam, as we saw. Sector held off Jason Manucci, who rounds out the top 10. Notovin with that crash still finished 11th, which is a good drive from him, as Teague finished in 12th, ahead of Not a Super, Nicolator and Corndog. Racer 8 was just in behind them, with Uzia Dallas holding on from Jen at the end. Joe Albanese and Urko rounded out the top 20, with Springflower just outside of that. Garlic Dog next as well, with Sassy also 1 lap down, by the way. Brandon Dean and Sneezy Jr. the same. Biker Pilot finishing just in behind them, ahead of DC and G-Bait. Omega a further lap down. Zach the only one to retire really early on in that race here today. Let's have a chat now to Sean Dickinson, who takes the victory for the second week in a row. And Sean, welcome in. Congratulations on taking your second win of the season. Slightly more comfortable in terms of seconds than last week. Tell us how your evening was at Navarra.
It might have been slightly more comfortable as far as a gap, but it definitely was way less comfortable in the car. That extreme high temp, I was on marbles the entire race.
I was going to ask you a little bit about the temperature. Obviously, it at the very most got up to 57 during that race. It did fluctuate quite a lot throughout, but was there never the temptation to sort of change tyres, do anything at the pit stop to try and alleviate some of those problems because it was so hot?
No, the tires don't wear fast enough, and then I'd kill 2 laps trying to get them warmed up, so that was never a temptation, but I did see the temps fluctuate, and the lap times came down at first, and then the second round just made the car a little more comfortable for a little bit, but by the end, I was just making sure the rear end stayed behind me.
Well, congratulations on doing that and making the whole field stay behind you as well at the end of that race, taking the win for the second week in a row. And thanks for chatting to us after the race as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for hosting it. Thanks, guys, SimCity. Thanks for Josh help me out set up and all the testing. So glad we could put in another good run.
Thanks very much. That is Sean Dickinson, the race winner for the second week in a row here in the championship. Second of all, Squilliam took the second position this time around, and we can chat to him as well. Squilliam, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on second place. Just holding off Logan towards the end there, but tell us about that first stint of the race where, in the end, you were involved in quite a big group battling around this circuit. What was it like?
Yeah, that was a blast. Just at the beginning, just trying to press hard and put some pressure on Cat Daddy, Jason, and he was kind of making some mistakes, so I was just trying to find ways to take advantage of it, and luckily I got him eventually. I think it was like lap 8, and then from there I was just trying to push, just make a little bit of a gap as much as I could. The Lamborghini, I thought about trying to fuel save a little bit, but the Lambos got like the worst fuel mileage, I think, out of all the GT3s, or one of the worst. So I just decided to try to push and see what I could do, because the car felt really good around this track and felt like it really suited it. So I just tried to get the lap times down as much as I could.
I'm not sure where you ended up last week, actually, but what's your aims for this season now that you've finished in second place for round number 2? Because, as I said, it didn't spot where you were last week. Where are you aiming to be at the end of this season?
Yeah, I didn't actually make the race last week, unfortunately, and I don't think I'm going to make the entire season, just with I've got moving potentially on the horizon and some other stuff going on, so I don't think I'm going to make every race. If I can make all of them, I'd like to be like top 5. I don't really drive these cars, so I was making a lot of mistakes, and so hopefully I can kind of adapt and learn. I'm much more of a downforce, like prototype or open wheel guy, so just trying to adapt and see what I can do. A top 5 for the end of the season, I can make all the races, I think would be pretty good for me, though.
Well, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us after tonight's race, and congratulations on finishing second at Navarra.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks very much. That is Squilliam in second place tonight, ahead of Logan McKenzie, who was chasing him down right towards the end. Logan, welcome in, and congratulations on a podium place finish here tonight. You nearly got there to second place, but a third place will have to do. How would you assess how that race went overall?
Yeah, I think it went pretty fantastically, considering I'm only just now getting into driving GT3s, and my qualified P5, I was afraid I was going to drop, especially at the start of the race. That it was interesting. There were a couple of people that I was slower than at the start of the race, and that could just be me slowly getting better at the car on the track. But it felt like the pace flipped a little there towards the end. Like I was really worried about Beaver in the final stint, and then as I kept up with Squilliam, he just kind of fell off, and it came down to two of us. And then I had to fuel save a little bit, but I'm not sure I would have really gotten a chance at Squilliam anyway, because the slipstream was doing most of the work there. Like I think we were close on pace, but I wasn't faster than him, so it was going to be tough to get a move done. So very happy with third.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I haven't seen you do very much GT3 racing in the past. What was it that attracted you to do this series and do it in the Corvette as well, which you've chosen this season?
Well, I used to run in this series back in 2020. It's been a while. And back then I also drove the Corvette, but it was a GTE. So it's I'm not unfamiliar to the GT racing, and these are pretty easy to keep under control once you know what you're doing. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good to have you on the grid this season, and good to have you on the podium for the first time this season tonight as well. Congratulations on that, Logan, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much. That is Logan McKenzie, who has taken third place, a podium place for the first time this season. In fact, only one repeat podium finisher, and that is Sean Dickinson, who has taken the win on both occasions. I think we haven't talked about him very much, Chris, but we haven't necessarily needed to. Over 10 seconds is the gap at the line. He said, from inside the car, I'm sure it was less comfortable than what it was last week because of the conditions that were very, very difficult here at Navarra today, but he pretty much dominated that.
Yeah, Ewan, I don't know where he was uncomfortable because from our point of view, he looked pretty dang comfortable in the car right there, 10 seconds out in front, just driving away from this field. Unfortunately, if he has any sponsors on the car, that's tend to what's happened when you just kind of dominate a race like that. You don't get a lot of camera time, so we were too busy watching the action going on, and there was a lot of action all the way throughout the field. But Dickinson just with a dominating performance here today for sure.
It's a good job that for SimCity Racing, the team, as you say, Joshua Spears got a lot of the camera time towards the end as he very much got involved in the battles. But that is just about it from us here tonight on this broadcast of the second round of the Parabolic Companies J2ICS GT3 Sprint Championship in Season 11 of the J2ICS series. We'll be back next week with a bit more of a conventional circuit for GT Racing at Interlagos, our last race in July. Very much hope you can join us for that then. We'll be back same time, same place, 7 days' time. I've been Neil O'Leary alongside Chris Murphy in the comms spot with Biggles behind the cameras for us tonight. We'll see you again in 7 days' time at Interlagos. It's goodbye for now.